Sylvia Clark was born in Cairo, Georgia. She was valedictorian of her high school class, active in band and chorus, and voted most talented superior by her classmates. She entered Wesleyan College in the fall of 1956 and graduated with a major in music in 1960. Her professional life began with a move to Atlanta late in 1956 and a position with Retail Credit. Soon she went to work at WXIA-TV. In the fall of 1961, she joined WQXI Radio as continuity director. Kent Burkhart learned of Sylvia's music background and hired her to be music director of WQXI. When an FM was purchased, Sylvia was named programming assistant of WKXI. The stations were purchased by Pacific and Southern. Sylvia moved to Denver to become corporate music director. After a year in Colorado, Sylvia moved to Texas to become music consultant for a Dallas station. She then joined Burns Media to work with former WQXI program director George Burns and developed Stereo Rock, a top-rated syndicated format on over 200 stations. Clark also programmed the ambient music at each of the Olympic venues for the 1984 Games. After radio, Sylvia moved back to Atlanta and had a successful career as a realtor and mortgage broker. She retired with her beloved Westie Max to Blue Ridge in the North Georgia mountains. Sylvia had many mementos from her long radio career. In accordance with her last wishes, they are on display at her alma mater, Wesleyan College in Macon. Ed Dunbar was born in Washington, D.C. and moved to Atlanta when he was 5. At 18, Ed joined the Navy Seabees and served in the Pacific Theater. On his way there, he attended a radio broadcast, Tom Brenneman's Breakfast in Hollywood, which featured introductions of guest servicemen. After asking for his name and hometown, Brenneman said, "You have a good voice. You should consider going into radio when the war is over." In 1946, when Dunbar got out of the service, he remembered Brenneman's words. Augusta's third station, WBBQ, was being built, and when it signed on in January of 1947, Ed Dunbar was one of its announcers. During the next 6 years, he did every job at the station. In 1953, Ed became WBBQ general manager. Over the next 3 decades, many things changed. When Ed began as an announcer, the music was very different, and the station aired soap operas and baseball. Ed embraced the musical changes. The format evolved to Top 40, and Dunbar always encouraged the staff to be creative and provided them with the tools to be the best.
WBBQ AM Stereo FM. Augusta's favorite station, playing the biggest and best hits 24 hours a day. Join the fun with your favorite personalities. And Augusta's top news department keeps you fully informed. Where the best listeners are, WBBQ AM and FM 104.
The market changed with more and more stations. Ed mentored many young managers. Under his leadership, WBBQ became one of the most respected stations in the nation, featured in the 1985 book In Search of Excellence. WBBQ dominated listenership and revenue in Augusta for 26 straight years. Ed was an active civic leader and was the voice of the ministry of 2009 Georgia Radio Hall of Fame Founders and Directors Award recipient Michael Guido. Ed Dunbar retired in 1988. Donald Jones was born on December 14, 1915 in Brooklyn, New York. After attending Princeton Prep School, he enrolled at Princeton University and graduated in 1938. 3 years later, he joined the Royal Canadian Air Force, which was enlisting pilots well before the United States Army Air Corps. It was there he received pilot training, and in 1942, Jones transferred to the Air Corps and was assigned to the 8th Air Force Unit. During his 3 years of military service, Deacon Jones, as he was known by his crewmates, flew 25 missions, including the bombing raid of the Nazi oil fields and refineries at Ploiești, Romania. The raid on Ploiești crippled German resources and was the subject of a book published in 1962. During his tour of duty, Donald Jones rose to the rank of captain and was awarded 2 Distinguished Flying Crosses and 5 Air Medals. After the war, Jones returned to New York and joined John Blair and Company as an account executive. WSAV was one of his accounts. In 1949, Jones moved to Savannah to become the station's vice president and commercial manager. Jones met and married local WTOC radio personality Alice Carr. In 1956, Jones founded WSGA, which rose to become a ratings and revenue success in the Savannah market.
WSGA. In the coastal empire, the first choice.
WSGA was the launching pad for many radio careers, including 2009 Georgia Radio Hall of Fame Career Achievement inductee Jerry Rogers. In 1971, Don Jones founded WSGF-FM, an innovative station featuring a soft rock format. Jones was a devoted family man and community leader, serving as president of the Savannah Rotary Club and a member of the Oglethorpe Club and Christ Church. He and Alice had 6 children. After nearly 30 years as a major player in Savannah radio, Jones retired to pursue his other passion, golf. He was president of the Savannah Golf Club and participated in many local tournaments. Bob McGarity was born in Atlanta and attended Boys High. Upon graduating, he attended Davidson College. McGarity's early radio career included stations in Cedartown, Griffin, and Winder. He moved back to Atlanta to work at WBGE and WSB. In 1959, he moved to Lawrenceville to work for WLAW, the voice of Gwinnett. The station was founded and owned by his father. He announced, sold advertising, and managed the station. When his father died, Bob and his sister became the owners.
A real fine run on the part of Sanford, and the boys began to look a little bit more like themselves on that last drive.
McGarity was the play-by-play voice of the Gwinnett Black Knights for nearly 40 years and composed the lyrics for the Central Gwinnett fight song. Bob was active in Lawrenceville civic organizations, hosting the annual Gwinnett County March of Dimes Radiothon. McGarity became a licensed Southern Baptist minister and served as chaplain at Medical Arts Nursing Home in Lawrenceville. Bob McGarity loved the Georgia Bulldogs and became friends with 2007 Georgia Radio Hall of Fame Career Achievement inductee Larry Munson. Bob McGarity retired in 2007. Allen McGee Woodall was born into a prominent Columbus family on May 23, 1923. His father was a newspaper man, and after graduating from the University of Georgia, Woodall went to Alabama, where he worked for a newspaper, then was in sales at WSFA in Montgomery. He returned to his hometown of Columbus to become manager of WDAK. Several years later, he purchased WDAK. Woodall also owned WALG in Albany and named his properties the Big Johnny Reb stations. He had interests in WAYX in Waycross, WDAX in McRae, and WMOG in Brunswick. The Big Johnny Reb stations launched the careers of many young DJs in Georgia, including Georgia Radio Hall of Fame Career Achievement inductee Larry James and Legacy inductees Cousin Al and Jimmy Deere. Woodall was a founder and chairman of the board of the Radio Advertising Bureau and past president of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters. His community involvement in Columbus included serving as president of the Columbus Chamber of Commerce and being named an honorary U.S. Air Force jet jockey. He was chairman of the Columbus Board of Public Safety. As a member of the State Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia, he was instrumental in the founding of Columbus College and Brunswick Junior College. Woodall served on the board of directors of American Family Life Assurance Company, today known as Just prior to his death in 1965, Woodall's business interests included securing franchise rights for a cable company to serve Brunswick.